Hey everyone, it's Charlie. It is May 28th, Thursday, and hi. I don't even know where to start. Let's do some numbers. Durable goods was up 1.9%. That's awesome. Jobless claims were down by 13,000 to 623,000. That is fantastic. But when you read the article, you know that's the news. That's what you heard. Those were the taglines on CNBC this morning. When I had a chance, when I came home from work tonight, I went ahead and pulled these numbers up, and sure enough, durable goods rose by 1.9% after they revised downward the durable goods for last month. Now, last month we were supposed to have a 0.3% increase in durable goods. They revised it 3 times downward to a negative 0.28. So we were 1.9% above the negative 2.8% decrease of last month. Of course, last month they told us we had an increase, revised it down, so this month looks better. Jobless claims, 623,000 was 13,000 better than last month after they revised the job claims downward. March's jobless claims, they revised it down by like 15,000 jobs, and we came in 13,000 jobs better than that. So whatever, you know the deal. It's smoke and mirrors. It's seasonally adjusted, revisionist propaganda is what it is. So, but the fact of the matter is, durable goods are at a 13-year low. That, regardless of what they do to the numbers. Jobless claims are still 623,000 initial claims this week. Again, that's the city of Denver. That's Boston. That's a major U.S. city is now unemployed, filed for jobless claims. None of which really matters because that number is certainly not even going to slow. It's not slowing down. It's not going away. I didn't talk in my video yesterday, and it was about this subject, the bond yield, and it's been on my mind for the last few days, and I didn't bring it up. But yesterday it hit on the 10-year yield. That's a benchmark rate that banks use in determining mortgage rates, car rates, student loans, the price of borrowing money. The 10-year yield is, or the 10-year bond rate is key to that. It has went up 100 basis points since March, since they announced quantitative easing. That's a 40% drop in the value of the bond, creating a 100 basis point raise in the interest rate of it. Yesterday, it touched 3.75% interest. The reason it's doing that is because we can't sell our debt. And if we can't sell our debt, we have to increase the yield of that 10-year note in order to entice people to come in and buy our debt. And they're not doing it. So that's why we're having a 40% raise, a 40% drop in the price of the bond in 60 days' time. That's an incredible move. So everybody's freaking out about that. You're starting to hear more about it on the mainstream media. But guys like Peter Schiff, Gerald Celente, and Mark Faber have been talking about it. That will be one of the key signs that we're going to enter a dollar demise, and an extreme inflation scenario is going to be watching the interest rates go up. And keep in mind, when Geithner introduced his plan, one of many failed plans to do quantitative easing to keep that key rate down in order to keep the mortgage bubble flowing. The day he announced it, I made a video when I was in Denver, and I made a video saying, this is it. This is the beginning of the dollar collapse. And the 10-year yield on that day, on the announcement, was 2.56. And today it closed, I believe, at 3.63. Yesterday it touched 3.75. Now they're going to do everything they can to try to keep the easing on that 10-year yield, so people don't freak out. But I'm here to tell you, the freak out time is long since past. There's no putting the toothpaste back in the tube on this one. Nobody's buying our debt. We can't sell it. Geithner's over in China right now as we speak, trying to convince them to keep on buying our debt, trying to put them at ease that we're not squandering away their investment. And, they're not buying it. They're absolutely not buying it. And with that, we have, I own gold and silver, and I'm, the last couple of days, the last week has been, phenomenal for silver, over $15 an ounce. Gold right now is at $9.64, and they're all about to crack through their emotional barriers of the $1,000 mark on gold. And when that happens, that that isn't coming back either. I mean, the market wants to. Today it rallied, and at the end of the day, the reason for the rally primarily was energy prices and commodities were going up. So oil is about $65 a barrel, and I'm telling you something, that is not good news. Because we're still losing 600,000 jobs a month. We're still losing actual wages are decreasing, work weeks are decreasing, underemployment is increasing, but the price of everything is going to start to go through the roof. And I'm not, this 100 basis point move in 60 days, that is a lot, and it's certainly cause for concern, but we haven't seen anything yet. Nothing. We're going to see 100 basis point increases in a day. As a matter of fact, the day they announced quantitative easing, we had a huge move downward, thinking it was going to fix a problem. And gold and silver took a huge jump that day. 13% on silver, I believe, the day it was announced. Well, we're going to start seeing those kind of jumps in commodities, that kind of jump in interest rates. And all that's going to do is further stymie the economy that's already hemorrhaging. And they might play up that this commodity inflation is a good thing. It isn't good when nobody can buy anything, okay? And it isn't like we're going to put people, all these extra workers out into the fields to grow more corn. It isn't like we can take all these displaced workers and put them to work in the commodities industry. We're not going to turn them into loggers or turn them into gold miners. Not at 600,000 new claims every week. Official number of 700,000 jobs a month being lost. So, hearing the reflation of commodities, this oil thing, can you imagine when we had a $168 billion stimulus package under George Bush, everybody got a $600 check. Suddenly, oil, 6 months later, goes to $140 a barrel. Can you even imagine what's going to happen when these trillions, these multi-trillion-dollar bailouts and stimuluses start, that liquidity starts flowing into the system? It's going to be brutal. So, advice. This is advice I have. If you are trying to do a refi right now or buy a home right now, I think if you're trying to buy a home, you're nuts because 40% off isn't enough. You need to wait because deflation of home prices is still coming. But if you're doing a refi, step on it. Put the pedal down because you don't have a lot of time before you lose these really good 5-6% rates. Or even in some cases, you can still get them under 5. But those aren't going to last long. The Fed might announce more quantitative easing to tamp this yield down. They're going to do what they can to hold it back, but it's inevitable. It's absolutely inevitable that it's going to go through the roof. So anyway, that's all the news I had today. I had a lot of comments yesterday on the yield, and I know I didn't touch on it at all, so I wanted to talk about it a little bit, so I did, and that's it. That's all I got.